welcome to the Motivation Insiders podcast, a podcast produced and distributed by the Incentive and Engagement Solution Providers, a strategic industry group of the Incentive Marketing Association. My name is Vince Giafolo. I'm current IESP board president. And if you're not familiar with Motivation Insiders, each episode involves a host of the IESP who interviews active members of the industry across areas like incentives, recognition, loyalty, and engagement, making it a podcast for the incentive industry by the incentive industry. And this is a very special episode of that podcast. It's the IMA Summit edition. So for those that know, more than 2 decades of the IMA Summit has taken place, where leaders from across the industry have come together to learn, collaborate, and exchange ideas together. The 2026 Summit in Baltimore continued that tradition, and it did not disappoint. Throughout this year's event, incoming IESP Board President Carl McDonald of Vibe and incoming Executive Vice President of the IESP Board Pam Pelino of 110 collaborated to interview attendees across the summit, exploring the questions on everybody's minds. Things like what's happening across the industry, what trends are gaining the most momentum, and where is this industry headed next. And the result is this episode, one that captures the perspectives of the people that are shaping the industry, recorded where those conversations were happening, right here at the IMA Summit. So we hope you enjoy this special IMA Summit edition of the Motivation Insiders podcast.
I'm here with Nicole Glass, President of Gift Card Market, and we are live at the IMA Summit. So Nicole, tell me, what are you most excited about for this year's summit?
I'd say I'm most excited about just connecting with peers, talking to other folks in the industry, and finding out what they're excited about, what's working for them, and kind of what they see as the next, thing in the industry. So just learning and sharing information with colleagues.
Okay, great. So tell me, who do you really see driving the decisions with programs right now? Do you see that as being leadership, finance, procurement, or do you think the end user is really dictating what's happening based on their needs and wants?
Yeah, realistically, it is leadership, but if leadership is doing their job, they're going to listen to that end consumer and what they're asking for. So it should be the end consumer or the end user, if you're doing your job right, in my opinion.
That's an interesting perspective. I feel like the end users are definitely having more say these days in what's happening in the programs.
Exactly.
Nicole, what are incentive and recognition programs getting right today more so than they were 3 to 5 years ago?
I think there's a broader choice and at the same time more personalization. I think folks are getting the opportunity to say, this is what I really want. Show me, you know me, is very important right now. And I think the companies that are going to win are going to be more in that area.
Okay, great. I'm curious, what originally pulled you into the incentive industry and what's kept you here?
Yeah, we have received a very warm welcome in the incentive area. Our launch partner was SVS Solutions B2B. So with that kind of drove us in that direction. And as you may know, retail nowadays is kind of locked up on with the big behemoths owning the large accounts in retail. It's a little bit harder to get a truly new innovative gift card product into that space. And so B2B was very welcoming. We've been able to, make a lot of traction in incentive, and the results have been phenomenal. So that's what's keeping us there is, hey, it's really working.
That's amazing. I love the local aspect of your market and your customer base.
Something very different.
For sure. So tell me, what is the best advice you've ever received in the industry?
I would say this goes back way, to the beginning of my career, which is listen to the end user. What is the trend? What are they looking for? And follow that, and make it easy for your customers to adopt your product. And keep it simple is kind of the rule, and that's what we've done. We've got this huge solution with 12 million local businesses, but we've made it so easy and seamless to allow people to find their favorite neighborhood local places, and that has been successful for us.
That's amazing. Give me one word that describes the future of gift cards.
Personalized. go after the interests of the end users, go after what is meaningful to the incentive customers that you have, and adopt your program to make it work for them. So along with personalized, I will also say flexible is kind of can be used interchangeably.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Nicole.
My pleasure.
I'm excited. What are you excited about for the rest of this summit? We just kicked it off this morning.
Oh my gosh, I know we're right at the beginning. I think there's going to be some amazing content. I'm excited to hear about new innovation in the industry and just connect with my partners that you don't get to see every day. So I look forward to that connection.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole.
Of course.
I'm here at the IMA Summit with Pablo Arredondo. Did I say that right?
Perfect.
Great. Pablo is the Senior VP of Global Sales and Development at Merit Incentives. So, Pablo, what are you most excited about at this year's summit?
Well, to be honest, the conversations. I think our industry is evolving very fast with AI and many marketplaces and also a lot of possibilities. So the fact that we can have this conversation, share knowledge, and receive advices from the expert in the industry is what excites me the most every year. That's why I'm coming every year, because not only for business, but also for conversation, interactions, people. We're still very like people oriented, person oriented, and that's why I like it.
And that's what keeps you coming back every year.
Exactly.
How many years have you been coming to the IMA, Pablo?
This is my fourth so far.
That's great.
Yeah.
Tell me, which reward type are you seeing right now being the most popular? Are you seeing that being cash, gift cards, merchandise, or more on the travel and experience side?
I think gift card continue to dominate the market because of flexibility and the possibility of choosing different brands. But I have to say this new generation and the new behaviors goes more for experiences instead of just a reward. With that said, travel is very important right now. Give something else, make things different. And not only the reward, but also the product itself, the full customer journey, how you are delivering the product and the reward to the end user is the most important. So not being focused on which one is the most important, but also what kind of experience I can deliver.
That's great. I love that. What are incentive and recognition programs getting more right today than 5 years ago?
I think right now is more like customer centric, let's say. I think the last 3 to 5 years, it was more what the client wanted to have, what kind of brands they wanted. But now we need to think more about the customer. What's the experience again? And give like the full experience, not only in redemption and what you're gonna get, but also the full experience when you get rewarded. Why is the reason? And feel that it's super personalized in the sense, because I think our industry have the power of change the way it's seen from clients. So not only create the best product, the best technology, but also like thinking on global possibilities being local. What do I mean? I mean like the specific coffee shop that you like, the brand that you are waiting to exchange something and redeem points on it. The full experience of gaining points and redeem in a way you like it. Not only like the best brands and the biggest, that for sure is good to have. Don't take me wrong. Having the most important names is very important, but also the ones you like. So give that personalization on the programs is very good.
That's great. What would you say? What is your favorite, most memorable recognition that you've ever personally received?
I think for me is more like my team, my industry. So it's not a specific award, let's say, but more than that is when we fix a problem for a client. When the client says, now you get me, this is what I want, let's close the deal, let's have this contract done. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say for over months to different companies, and you get me. That for me is the most important, because you have many possibilities out there and you can win a lot of awards, but just a simple conversation, when you get what the client wants or needs, is so much better.
So your reward is fixing the client's problems.
Exactly. And my team as well, whatever they need. My team is very important for me as well.
That's great. There's no I in team, as they say.
Exactly.
Pablo, when a program underperforms, what do you find is usually the reason? Is it the reward, how it's communicated, or is it perhaps the timing?
Well, in my experience, it's rarely the reward. I think it's more about not the communication, how we communicate. Is the right message? Are we empowering enough the customer to understand what you want to deliver? And nowadays is also how you're making the conversation going. Is it an email, just a newsletter? How many newsletters you can receive in a week? 100? Let's say 100 or 100. So the how is very important, because I think we now need to create engagement. Yeah, social media, but also what kind of innovation, creative ways of communication you can have for the people understand your message. I think we are right now experiencing a lot of changes in the industry, not only us as the main stakeholder, let's say, but for the clients and companies as well, because they're struggling sometimes with this change of generations. So I think that we need to empower companies to be creative, to use different channels, different ways to look and get and achieve that kind of engagement with the customers.
So if the program will really be successful in the end with all the noise out there,
Exactly.
you have to encourage them to really, you have to partner with them.
Exactly. It's
Because-
more like a partner.
Mhm.
It's no longer like client relationship. It's more like a partner. Let's build something together. I give you the rewards, yes, but it's only part of it. How we're going to communicate, when, where, is it like social media only? What else we can do? What kind of product do you have? Can you create like a marketing campaign in different scenarios? Can we target a specific customers for one message and a different target for something different? Let's say, what kind of activity we have from the brands as well? Are they willing to create campaigns? Are they are willing to invest in your client? That's very important. So yeah, I think the whole experience, having the rewards, the right rewards, is the most important.
Pablo, I want to talk about Gen Z and millennials for a moment. This is one of my favorite topics. I know I have a Gen Z daughter, so I get educated often on what the Gen Z preferences are, and I love that. What are you seeing right now in terms of trends and rewards for Gen Z and millennials?
I think if I need to summarize in one sentence, for me, Gen Z, they value experience over possessions. So it's no longer what you can give me. It's more like what kind of experience and what I'm gonna live. You know, it's the full experience, and not only the redemption, it's also the customer journey. Is it what I expect? Because if I have too many clicks, I'm not interested. Now my window of interest is between 5 to 15 seconds. More than that, I need to scroll like TikTok. You know, you get me. I'm gonna give you 15 seconds of my life. Do it. You know, so everything is faster. but also it's about the experience. If you can engage and you make the link with this Gen Z in 15 seconds, they are super loyal. If they like it, they're gonna do it. That's why we're then going to TikTok or in social media or whatever, and they like the dance. They are willing to dance in front of a camera because you create this link with them. So I think for Gen Z is more like the experience, but also the reward is no longer what kind of sneakers I can buy. I'm waiting for a gift to have the shoes that I've been waiting for. It's not like that. It's like I wanted to have brands who thinks in my values, sustainability, last mile delivery, so like diversification of possibilities is very important, and try to think like them. Sometimes I say to my team that it's better to have the experience to grab a coffee in the coffee shop in the corner, even though you need to walk 5 minutes, than just have right now the coffee at the co-working space because of the experience. And I think that's part of what they're looking for.
They really value the experiences, and I think for that group, being present in the
Exactly.
moment
Yes.
is so important because they do have so much noise.
Yeah.
They did grow up as digital natives. They did
Totally.
go through COVID at a very impressionable age. I think there are so many factors that contribute to the behavior and wants and needs and desires of Gen Z. I find Gen Z to be fascinating, and I personally think we can learn a lot from them in terms of some people say that Gen Z can be harder to manage or motivate, but my personal feelings are that we can learn from Gen Z, and that they are going to make up so much of the workforce in the future that not only do we need to learn from them, but we need to adapt for them.
I agree. I think that sometimes we think that new generation are hard to get, but I think that it's also because we need to adapt. We need to understand that they are the first generation completely digital native. So it's very different when you talk with a millennial, for instance, and you have the experience before Facebook and YouTube, and you were in a position to find and discover this kind of innovation on a daily basis. Then Gen Z, they have it, and they have the chip in their mind how to use it, where they have so many social networks, but they understand which one is the right for what kind of message and what they like. So I think the possibility of adapt is very important for us to create engagement.
They're showing us a lot. Gen Z is
For
showing us a
sure,
lot.
for sure.
I love talking to people in the industry and finding out what brought them to the industry. We have so many varied backgrounds in the incentive and recognition industry, which I think is what makes the conferences so interesting and the people so interesting in our industry. Tell me, what pulled you into the incentive industry and what has kept you here?
I actually came from technology, business development, and my background is law. So when I found the industry, I found like a home, because for me it was the possibility of do everything I wanted with technology, but with a reason. For me, is very important what you're giving to the world, and this kind of sensation is what I get from the industry. The possibility of having like the full connection between technology, rewards, incentive, innovation, rewards, but also the possibility of create new things, new layers, being creative, try to engage people. There's psychology behind of the industry is super cool. And I think we have so many possibilities, not only in terms of marketplaces, and everything we can create is now we can use AI, for instance. We can do so much more things for our clients, but also is the real business development, because you need to develop their ideas in the best way to create real engagement, to think in a very diverse way for all the clients. And yeah, I think that having this possibility of integrate different things is what where my passion is. I really love it.
It sounds like you found the perfect career.
Yes.
That's great.
I really think so.
I feel the same way. I identified with a lot of the things that you said, and I think the mix of all the different things that need to be done and the opportunities that are there. And I mean, at the end of the day, we're rewarding people for doing good work. And I think that is really fun. I think
Yes.
that's a great career. Tell me, Pablo, what's the best advice you've ever received in the industry?
Focus on solving problems, not selling products. Because your client have a pain. Listen before selling. Don't try to rush things. Find the right timing. It's like understand what's going on. If it's employee engagement, what kind of employees you want to engage for what, but is it really a motivation? Do you want to create something else? And sometimes when a client comes to us, they have so many questions about rewards. This is something that I can afford, is profitable. Do I have to pay FX for different countries? What's the biggest pain? Can I trust you for different countries? And I think when you solve and answer all those questions, they feel comfortable and they trust. And you don't even close a sale; you're closing a partnership. So it's better. And that's the best advice I receive, and also I think the best advice I can give.
That's
Be
amazing.
a problem solver.
That's amazing. I will tell you the best advice I ever got in the industry. It was from Rochelle Suvar, who is our managing director of travel at 110. And when I got into the industry and started at 110, she told me, go to the IMA conference.
Oh, nice. Very
And
good.
yes, it was great. It was great advice, and I have been coming ever since. So that was one of many pieces of advice that she gave me, but one that I remember the most.
I'm following that advice as well.
That's
Very
great.
good.
I just have one more question, Pablo. If you could give me one word that describes the future of incentives.
Personalization, for sure. When you have the sensation that whatever reward you're getting is personalized, it's because you want it, and you can wait for it because you really want that. It's very important. But also the possibility to have this kind of diversification in terms of clients, for them to feel unique, is super important. And I think this is the link of all our conversation. Understand your client needs, solve problems, look for innovation, listen to the Gen Z. If you link everything, you can personalize your product and you'll be unique. And for the clients, their program, their rewards, it's going to be unique. So you are at the end creating this partnership with them.
That's great. Thank you so much, Pablo.
No, thanks to you for having me.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because it's time for a game of window or aisle seat.
Okay, Jack, so I have to know, what's your preference, window or aisle seat?
It's an aisle seat.
And why is that?
I'm 6'4", and I just can't be squished up against a window or in the middle. so I always have to take the aisle seat so I can get up and stretch my legs.
I think that answer is totally fair. Thank you. So, John, I have a question. Window or aisle seat?
Aisle seat, most definitely.
John, what's your rationale?
I don't like waking people up to get past them, and I can't fall asleep on the window either way, so I'd rather have more room.
Cheryl, window or aisle seat?
Window all the way,
Why is that?
because no one bumps me and I have like my very own space on my window side.
Okay, Cindy Mielke, for our lightning round, we've talked to some travel folks here in the travel industry, and so I want to ask you, are you a window seat girl or aisle seat? What is your preference?
I'm an aisle seat girl all the way.
And why is that?
Something about having one side open, just in case, I don't know, it feels free.
Okay.
On one side, it feels free.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love that. We've had a very divided
Have you? I'd love to
answer
know.
on it. I have a question for the two of you. So there's a debate going on in the incentive industry today in travel. So I'm going to ask you both right now. What is your opinion? Window seat or aisle seat?
Oh, she's got one and I've got
Aisle
another.
seat.
I'm a window girl.
Window. I didn't peg you for a window girl.
Window. I'm all window all
I've
day. I
learned a
don't
lot
move.
about the aisle seats now. I read an article
Oh,
that they say the aisle seats are the dirtiest.
really? Now we are getting the inside.
No, I read an
Travel.
article recently. I'm not kidding. Yeah,
Why is that?
because all the touch points with people touching the seats, the front, the back, they put their feet down to lift their bags up. So there's a lot of reasons why the aisle seats tend to be dirtier.
Okay, we are getting live at the IMA 2026 Summit, the inside scoop on what is better, window or aisle seat. This is going to serve for some robust conversation later, I can tell.
I have more to add, but we'll hang on to that for later.
Vince, window or aisle seat?
I'm an aisle seat guy. Even though it might not be, it feels like it's more spacious. And I always end up next to two people that are both asleep, but I'd have to wake up if I want to get up. So yeah, I go with the aisle.
Okay, we're going to have to tally up the answers from this IMA conference on window or aisle seat and find out what the most popular answer is. I'm with Pam Kressley and Lori Cassidy, co-founders of Gift-A-Trip. What are you most excited about at this year's summit?
Definitely reconnecting and networking with our partners, as well as meeting new ones, as there always is a fresh set of faces. But I think most importantly, it's learning more about the current trends and the emerging solutions. The IMA Summit always excels at curating timely, valuable content, specifically to our channel of business. So this is our favorite event of the year by far.
All of the data points show that this is what participants want, and this has been continuing to be a major focus for incentive event designers. And we are personally seeing a trend where historically smaller incentive group programs, like in the 10 to 20 room range, are for the first time considering individual travel awards. So companies have been economizing their resources, their budgets, time out of the office, and so they are rethinking the possibilities. Oftentimes, coordinating these programs falls upon an executive assistant, an HR manager, or another non-events dedicated employee. And so they welcome the opportunity to remove that responsibility and give the winners the freedom to choose their own favorite award destination. So it's being very well received by both the program administrators as well as the recipients and participants. Sometimes senior leadership has been skeptical about making such a change at first. They want to know, will their top performers, how will they receive that kind of change? How will they perceive it? What does the user experience look like? How will they be supported behind the scenes if something goes wrong? So once their concerns have been addressed and they receive positive feedback from both the administrators, their participants, we have been seeing these programs come back year after year.
Yeah, and if I could piggyback on that, Pam, there was a recent survey that came out from Site and Merits Travel that specifically asked award earners, what is their preference when it comes to being incentivized? And interestingly enough, for the first time, individual travel scored the highest in the average rating for all generations, with 61% of all respondents describing it as extremely motivating, with group travel coming in behind it second. So that was really an interesting change in how award earners are looking to be rewarded for incentives in 2026.
Interesting. Thank you. What do you think the incentive industry is getting right now when it comes to incentive travel?
I think the decision makers are starting to really pay attention to the data and listening to their participant feedback and giving them what they want. And sometimes that means you have to change course and presenting options that are different from what you've always been doing year over year. In recent years, this means more freedom, independence, choice, and thinking about how they can create personalized touch points throughout the program. And also recognizing that travel is still far and away the most coveted recognition of all, above cash, time off, merchandise, gift cards, etc. So it always needs to be part of the recognition framework, whether that's group or individual travel.
Okay, thank you. What do people value more today in travel than they did 5 years ago?
I think they value flexibility, choice. They also value wellness, recharging, and even more importantly than all of the above is traveling with loved ones, if at all possible. That personal time is really, really important to them.
There's nothing like a trip of creating memories with someone that you love.
Yes, as long as it's permitted and participants can bring family, they will absolutely opt into that. It's a great way to take that valuable time that we all have so little of it anymore, together with the family and take a trip on the company.
Great. As Gen Z and millennials become a larger percentage of incentive participants, what differences are you seeing in travel preferences, destination selection, and their reward expectations?
And I think a lot of the data points to this as well. They're definitely more adventurous. They're willing to explore more off the beaten path destinations. They want those Instagrammable moments, and they seem to prefer new experiences and destinations versus repeating the same place twice.
I'm with Don Doster, founder and CEO of GoPivot. So Don, I'm so excited to have you here today. Tell me, what has been your favorite part of the IMA Summit so far? We're on day 2, technically.
Other than talking to you?
Yes.
Well, anyway, thanks for having me. So this is my third conference. My first one was in New Orleans 2 years ago, and then last year in Austin. It's amazing. I was just thinking about this. When I first showed up at the conference in New Orleans, I was walking around, nobody knew me. I walked in, people are stopping me left and right. So I've made so many friends in the business that I'm working with now, and it just grows every year. So it's kind of like a business family reunion.
It does
so
feel like that.
It does,
I
absolutely.
agree.
And then the other thing that I love about this conference, so most of the conferences that we go to are very business oriented as it applies to wellness or safety, right? So all the content, everything is relatable to that. This is an incentive conference where you're bringing probably some of the most creative people in the world here. Like that opening keynote this morning was awesome.
Phenomenal.
It was awesome. And so I'm going to have one of those sessions, where they doodle, the doodle session, just to get the creative juices going, create more collaboration. I think I do that, but as I was listening to her, I said, we've gotten so busy in the weeds that you'll suffocate you. We got to step out. We got to do a lot more than that, because that's what the business was built on. So it's been great.
That's great. Yeah, this is my favorite conference every year, and I know the keynote speaker asked the audience on a scale of 1 to 5, where do you land on creativity? Where would you say you
10. I actually said 5. I was thinking, yeah, I mean, that's where my mind goes.
That's your strength.
Yeah, when it's free, free from being cluttered with blocking and tackling, and I can really get outside and really think about where this could go. That's what I have fun. That's where my energy comes from. Doesn't drain me, so I love that part.
That's great. Yeah, I love getting out of the day-to-day grind and using your mind in a different way. In this conference, I always come home with so many ideas when I go back to the office.
Yeah, and I can't wait to get back. I mean, with you got to go back and get everybody excited. With me, it's like, we're just going to do it.
That's great. What trends are you seeing with wellness in the incentive industry?
Good. It's a good question. So I'm going to answer it from two perspectives. One, I want to talk about the market for wellness. So it's changing, and it's changing in the right way. Healthcare costs have been on a rise since 1944 of about 14% per year. Now it's hitting as high as 30%.
Aside from the benefits to the employee for wellness and incentives, you're seeing the trend that businesses are really starting to take notice. There's a strong business case. They're looking at the bottom line, not just, of course, the benefit to the employees is great, but if they have a little trouble with that one as a priority, then the business case is what really the tipping point is for them.
Oh, absolutely. And so wellness is now a strategy. You got to have a wellness strategy. It's not just, we want to reward people for being healthy. We've got to have a strategy to bring it down. And that only helps us in the incentive industry, by far. The other thing is a part of that, and that might be a follow-up question is, how, you said trends, what are we seeing in reference to what companies are doing in reference to where they're putting their money? It used to be putting their money into, take a health risk assessment. Now they're putting a lot of money into emotional well-being and financial wellness. Prior to 2020, it was kind of inappropriate to ask somebody, how are you doing? But COVID opened up that. And so there is a direct correlation between, one's emotional well-being and how focused they are at work. It could actually, in the safety environment, could lead to accidents. So there's a lot of companies really asking now, what are you doing for emotional well-being in your program? What kind of tools are you offering that our employees can take advantage of? And then reward those people for taking advantage of those tools. So that's new. That's fun. That adds to it, as well as financial wellness. People are in debt. What are the different tools to get out? I'm getting ready to buy a house. I'm getting ready to buy insurance. Kids going to college. We just added the gift to college gift card this past year from last year's conference to it. It's amazing how many people are redeeming that card to put money into a 529 plan for the kid.
That's amazing. College is expensive.
Yeah.
It's expensive, right?
Yeah.
I think we're seeing different trends on what type of rewards are important to people, and the data doesn't lie on where the redemption is.
No,
we see it.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
Tell me, Don, how important do you think personalized wellness is, and how is it possible for companies to achieve that? Is it possible?
It is possible. There's a lot of HIPAA guidelines that you have to follow, which means basically you have to be fair and equitable across anything. So, but we're seeing a lot of branching out into areas where, like chair yoga as an example, or chair aerobics as an example, people that are in wheelchairs. It used to be we couldn't touch certain things like that, but now we can. So we can incent and motivate you if you want to do a triathlon, as an example, be rewarded. Before we couldn't do that because we have to offer a reasonable alternative. Well, now we can offer chair aerobics, or we can offer other things that are even education that they can take advantage of. So I'm seeing kind of the lid coming off where they were so protective and so strict on guardrails as it related to what can you do in wellness, to now it's opening up a lot more. And now there's a thing called outcome-based wellness. What is that? Let's say I'm a diabetic. This was something you couldn't even touch 2 or 3 years ago. If I keep my A1C 7 or below, I get points or rewards for enrolling in the program. I get points for getting my A1C 7 or below and keeping it there. All right? So that's called outcome-based. So people can continue to, again, something you couldn't touch, previously, And now it's becoming more commonplace as more self-funded employers are getting into it, trying to figure out strategically. Because 80% of all the cost of healthcare anywhere in the three areas, like of diabetes and heart and hypertension, are the three big costs. So before, we can't touch it. Now we can touch it. We can start rewarding people on an outcome basis. Hopefully that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
So that's about as individualized as you can get.
That's personal care.
Yeah.
So people can get rewarded for lowering their A1C. They can redeem for various rewards, other sort of personal metrics that they're trying to better. They set the goal at the beginning of the calendar year or whenever they are on board as an employee, and then they have a set amount of time. Is that right? I think I remember on your platform, this is something that 110 likes to do as well, and you really believe in from a motivation science perspective, is the frequency matters. Gone are the days where one reward at the end of the year is going to motivate you. The world just isn't like that anymore. And so I think that's something that you adhere to also from the motivation science perspective, is the frequency of the reward, having that frequency of the reward to help them.
We're kind of hooking them without them really knowing it. So we front load rewards to set them up for success. Like if you connect your tracker, let's say that you have an oil ring as an example, and you connect that. Now we're getting information off that device that we can reward you on: steps, food diaries, sleep, other things, registering on the app, maybe watching an educational video when you come in. Take the SMILE survey, which is an emotional well-being survey, or take the health risk assessment. You do all that, and you've earned enough to get a gift card. It could be $25. It doesn't have to be a lot. Now you won quick and early. So what else can I do?
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I love that. Don, you and I talked about mental health, how it really continues to be more of this priority for SMILE program. I just thought it was such a great idea. Program that you guys do. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
We're the wellness program. Customers came to us in a panic. They went to their EAP, their employee assistance program, and realized that they weren't real happy with it. Because there's a huge difference in mental well-being or mental wellness and a mental disorder. People get that confused all the time. So let me give you an example physically. Physically, hey, I'm a little overweight. I need to go work out. Or, I need to get in a cadence of that. That's a big difference than I'm a diabetic. That's a big difference. So mental wellness is the same thing. There's a huge difference between I'm overeating and I have an eating disorder. Right? Okay. So what's the bridge there? How do you give somebody something that they can check in on themselves, right? And give them tips about how they can improve different areas of mental well-being. So you think like physical sleep is one, my relational, my emotional, my occupational, and experiential world. Bottom line was, my wife's a clinical psychologist. When we looked out in the industry of what was available, we couldn't find what we thought was a practical tool that would work, that employees could take at their own leisure to check in on themselves. So we created what we call the SMILE survey. And it's 25 questions. The questions change every single time you take it. All of our clients are encouraging their employees to take it at least once a month, okay? So you go through it, and at the end of it, it'll give you a score. And 70 being average. So if you're over 70, it just says, hey, keep it up in these following areas. If you're under 70, it'll give you tips about how to improve. It's immediate feedback. Then it takes the 5 areas I just mentioned and gives you a score in each one of those and immediate tips about how you can improve that. So of all the things we've ever done, 23 years of business, by far, our clients love the SMILE survey. And we get business because of that one differentiator, because our competitors don't have that practical tool.
I'm here at the IMA Summit with Lincoln Smith, CEO of Motivforce. Lincoln, it's great to see you today.
Good to be here.
Tell me, when a program underperforms, what do you find is usually the reason? The offer itself, how it's communicated, or would you say the timing?
That's a great question. I think there isn't any one particular answer, but as I kind of think through what would be some of the main reasons that a program underperforms, I think it's really oftentimes not mapping out all of the true stakeholders that are critical to the success of the program and making sure that you've addressed a tailored communications to each of those stakeholders, understanding what success looks like for each cohort group, and making sure that that's really all aligned. And I oftentimes feel like that's probably one of the single most common reasons why a program might not be successful is that alignment, communication, and kind of what's in it for them. So anyhow, hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. That's really helpful. Who do you think is driving more of the decisions in programs today? Do you think it's leadership, finance, procurement, or would you say the end user?
Another good question, and it's actually tied to the one that you just mentioned beforehand, and there's a little bit of a theme here, and that's really understanding kind of the whole ecosystem of a loyalty or an incentive or a recognition program, and understanding all of those key stakeholders, and really understanding that each one of them have different roles and responsibilities and needs that they are looking to get from the strategy itself. So as an example, participants are looking for something that might be easy or frictionless, and the effort of the activity that they're being asked to do, they want to feel that it's equitable. So making sure that you understand that perspective and that particular need needs to be addressed. And then you have middle management or a sales organization that's responsible for communicating it, promoting it, being really the frontline communicator of a program. So giving them the proper tools on how to communicate this program and engage that audience would be critical. I think that also what's in it for them. You want to be able to kind of align what this strategy is going to do and how that middle management or the sales organization might meet their goals and objectives professionally because of this investment. And then when you start to get into really the C-suite, you do have procurement, you will have CFOs, and then you'll have sales and operations. And each of those personas also have different needs that need to be addressed when designing, executing, and evaluating a program. So, CFOs, of course, are looking at the financial ROI and really the final outcome from a financial perspective. Your ops stakeholders are going to be looking for something that's going to maybe reduce workload and be streamlined and have a great user experience for the operations team with accurate, secure data, as an example. The sales organization, again, is looking for something that will be exciting and promotable to whoever that target audience is. And I would say that's both sales and marketing. So anyhow, hopefully this kind of gives you an idea that programs aren't just one-dimensional. They have so many different stakeholders and goals and objectives, and clearly mapping that out on the front end, not on the back end, and then being able to measure that, communicate that, and keep that alignment will really make a program successful.
Great, thank you. I feel like today organizations have to scrutinize where they're investing more heavily than ever. Where do you see organizations investing most? In technology, in rewards, or would you say in strategy?
That's another really great question. I love these. I would say that organizations are investing in all of those, but I'll maybe answer the question slightly differently. And that is that I think that my recommendation would be that organizations oftentimes shortchange an investment. An investment could be financial and time into the program strategy and the communications and the promotion of the strategy itself. I think those two, are underfunded historically. And the reason I say that is that without those elements, everything behind it becomes unsuccessful. So I do see large investments in the tech, of course, with the advent of AI and all the opportunities that that's unlocking for these types of programs. But again, I think for the listeners, those investments are going to be necessary all the time. But I would just recommend strategy and communications is really something that is underfunded, in my opinion.
And maybe underappreciated a little bit when it comes to putting all those pieces of the puzzle together for a good program and for the program design.
Absolutely, because I think a lot of times they make a decision and then they just want to quickly get into execution. And so the idea is to take a step back, make sure that you have the right strategy. And as I answered the question a little bit earlier on each of those stakeholders, and making sure that you do have the right communications and the right KPIs throughout the journey of that program. So again, getting it out to market quickly can be important, but not at the expense of sound strategy, good KPIs, and a great, exciting communication and engagement program. Otherwise, it all is for naught.
Great, thank you. I want to get a little personal for a moment, Lincoln.
Oh boy.
I know. I really, you're such a leader in this industry, and I want to know what originally pulled you into the incentive and recognition industry, and also what has kept you here?
Well, the podcast probably can't be long enough for me to tell my whole journey, so I'll just have to give a few little sound bites. But I've been in the business for over 20 years. And my uncle, Paul Ferreira, founded HMI Performance Incentives in 1980. And so after I graduated from college, I moved out to work with him and his business. And his business was founded as a group incentive travel company. So I was not educated on the performance improvement industry, but had a lot of familiarity with, quote, travel. And I thought that sounds like a great opportunity. Let's go work in the travel industry. And when I joined the organization, I realized that it was not a travel company. It was an incentive company that used travel as a reward vehicle. And I was fortunate enough to participate in a lot of the group incentive travel programs on operating it and actually being on site, and just realized how exciting and fun it was, not only to be in these destinations, but the emotional appreciation and the excitement for the award winners all on site was very intoxicating. And I really started to get very vested in this industry. Now, at the same time, I realized that there's more than just incentive travel as a reward, that there is individual reward systems that could also be equally motivational. So that also started to take me down that path, where I started to get interested in technology, program design, and then the outputs of programs as a general practitioner. So anyhow, I guess that was a long-winded answer, but I guess it was the travel that
was
hooked
the
me.
hook.
And then it was really the science that behind it that kept me going in the industry. And that's where I'm at today, is really on the business side of the industry.
Okay, so travel was the hook, and the why, kind of the why behind that is what kept you going.
Exactly, all the business outcomes that come from this program, and the happiness and the joy that is brought because of those outcomes and the sound strategies and communications. So anyhow, it's the whole package. It really is, Pam.
It's a fun industry. If you're not having fun in this industry, then you're doing something wrong. That's what I
right.
say.
Well, you're always giving us a good reminder that as an ISP. And I think that's a great reminder sometimes. We kind of get into the weeds of all the back end things that make these things happen, but always bring that to the front end of, this is a happy business. We're in the business of rewarding and recognizing and creating happiness around.
Yes, I agree. And an appreciation is so needed with employees out there right now. Their disengagement is at an all-time high, as you know. So
that's right. There's no such thing as having too much.
No,
Certainly.
I have just one more question for you. I'm wondering, with all your experience in this industry, what is the best advice you've ever received?
Let's see here. I think the best advice, I don't know if it was necessarily tied to the industry, but I do think it is a good one. It's the quote of being comfortable being uncomfortable. And that statement by itself has helped me realize that you could always be in a good spot, but you have to be thinking about what's next. And this industry is also, it's really important with new technologies, new communications, new partnerships, different types of reward systems, all of that. Being able to be really forward thinking and innovative. And that's the reason this industry is so much thriving today. But if you have that mindset, it's going to be really difficult to be relevant. So be comfortable being uncomfortable, regardless if you're just starting out in the industry and you're a trip director or a program manager. Always be challenging yourself and put yourself out there to try and think of new things to deliver really great results for these programs. And that's served me very well.
That's great advice. I'm going to take that advice. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
That's right. It's kind of has a nice little flow to it.
Nice ring to it. Yes. Hi, I'm here at the IMA with Cindy Mielke, Senior Director of Global Sourcing at Blackhawk Network.
Hi, Pam.
Hi, it's so great to see you.
So great to see you too.
So tell me, what has been your favorite part of the IMA Summit so far this year?
Oh gosh, I have really enjoyed reconnecting. These are like friends and family almost. So I've enjoyed reconnecting with people I've known for many years. But also I've made so many amazing new connections. And I think that is really the value of the IMA, is introducing you to people with products and services you didn't know were out there necessarily or haven't had the time to explore. But you just have a moment for a chat and you learn something new. And it's something that could bring value to your business or to someone you know.
I love that. I couldn't agree more. There's lots of familiar faces, and then also always meeting new people is fun too.
Yes.
What is the best advice you've ever received in this industry?
You know, I think there was a woman, and we'll talk about her in a minute. Karen Rank was the Association Management Director of the IMA in its inception, and I've been blessed to be able to be with IMA since it started. And she modeled behavior that really taught me a lot early. I was impressionable at that point in my career. And her advice was always that everyone here is a customer potentially and also a potential employer. And so it's really important that we respect each other and that we find ways to work together. And if you can't help someone, find someone who can. And I've really tried to keep that to heart.
Just knowing you, I know that you kind of pay that forward for sure.
I try.
That's great.
I definitely try.
That's great. So we're in the incentive recognition business. And so I've been asking people, what is the most meaningful recognition that you've ever personally received?
So because of that, I have to say, when the IMA honored me with the Karen Rank Award, because of that and what she taught and emulated, after so many years of experience in the industry, to receive that meant a lot to me, because I really, like you said, I tried to live that, and I still do. And so that meant a lot to me. That's it.
That's amazing. That's really an amazing accomplishment.
Thank you. I love it. Great lady.
If you can give me one word that really describes the future of incentives, what would that be?
This is a hard one. One word things for me are hard, but I think of exhilarating. It just comes to mind, and here's why. There are so many things that are evolving and changing right now that we're talking about AI and how that's bringing things to our personal, professional lives and this industry. But I think it's exhilarating, because I think back to when IMA first started too. We envisioned that this would be a global organization, but it is now. Look at where it is. And so that's exhilarating. So when I look at it now, I think what happens in the next 5 to 10 is going to be exciting and a wild ride, like it always has been. Some things always remain true, but things will change about how we go to market or how we do business. But I think it's going to be exhilarating.
That's amazing. The word that comes to mind for me is probably energizing. So similar.
Yes.
I feel that the conference has so much packed in that it's exhausting, but in a good way.
Yes.
And I find that the future of incentives is energizing for me.
I love that. I agree with you. So I'm glad that we're kind of aligned that way. I will also say that so many people here are truly interested in learning from each other. And so when you say energizing, it's sort of like, hey, let me introduce myself. What do you do? What do you do? And we're always looking for ways to build connections. Oh, that's interesting. Have you talked to so-and-so? So I love that about this industry.
Yeah, it's very collaborative.
Yes.
Even though some of us are technically competitors with one another, or we might offer similar products, I have always found that it's extremely collaborative in nature and feels like a very friendly place
I agree.
to grow.
100% agree. That's why I've enjoyed spending most of my career here, because of the people and the way that we approach our business.
That's great.
It's been great talking to you.
Well, that's a wrap on this year's 2026 IMA Summit in Baltimore. On behalf of everybody at IESP, thank you for listening to this episode. Whether you attended the summit in person or you're experiencing it vicariously right here through these conversations, we hope this episode gave you perspective on the people, the ideas, and the discussions that defined this year's event, but also define our industry at large. It was another record-setting year for the IMA Summit, both attendance and sponsorship support, making for an outstanding week of education, networking, and industry discussion. The agenda covered all the important trends and challenges shaping the industry today. Chapter and strategic industry group meetings brought together members to exchange ideas. The networking events, of course, provided opportunities to reconnect with familiar faces. And the newcomers reception welcomed many new ones into the community. So with this year's summit now complete, attention already turns to next year's, will be taking place in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where the industry will of course be gathering once again. So again, on behalf of everybody at IESP, thanks for listening to this IMA Summit special episode of the Motivation Insiders podcast. My name is Vince Giafolo, current president of the IESP, and I hope you look forward to future episodes of Motivation Insiders.